What up, everybody? Do not adjust your TV sets. It is still I, Divine Intervention, joined as always by All Elite Joker.
Yo.
While the day of the week may be different, what we're discussing is the same. While we won't be going into a super in-depth review of Rampage, we will be touching on a couple of things as we discuss the predictions video for the Revolution pay-per-view coming up on Sunday, March 6th. This episode of Rampage was kind of important. There were a couple little things that they sprinkled in, a new match, closing out who officially will be going into the pay-per-view as the TNT champion. Had some returns, some debuts, like a lot of things to discuss here. But let's kind of start from the top. Do we want to go in order of Rampage or in order of the pay-per-view?
Well, I suppose we should probably go over Rampage because there were some significant implications on Rampage. I mean, we don't have to go too in depth with it, but of course, I think we should at least, quickly cover it real quick.
True. Okay. So first we started off the evening with the triple threat match between Sammy, our TNT champion, versus Darby Allin and Andrade El Idolo. Amazing match. There was this one really sick spot where, I mean, if nothing else, watch the match for this one spot where they're in the corner. I know Andrade ended up dropping them both, but was Darby on top or was it Sammy?
Yeah, so Darby was up on the top rope. Sammy jumped up to him and proceeded to try and suplex him off of the top rope. And then Andrade ran up under Sammy and got him in powerbomb position, but then walked out away from the corner and slammed him. Meanwhile, Sammy's been holding Darby in like this delayed suplex position for a good chunk of time as well. Like watch the match for this. Just for this. Like this was amazing. Like I couldn't breathe the whole time, but it was absolutely amazing.
Counters were amazing. Pinfall attempts were amazing. And ultimately, Sammy walks away here with the win after a couple of finishers put on Andrade El Idolo. Mm-hmm. And Sammy kind of not sneaking in, but I mean, both of them were trying to, get Darby and Sammy out of the way to try to pin Andrade for the win. So, so Sammy walks into the Revolution pay-per-view as still our TNT champ, and obviously that falls in line with the Face of the Revolution ladder match. We did also hear in regards to Sammy that Scorpio Sky will be getting his chance at the TNT title before whoever wins that has been confirmed.
Mm-hmm. For Wednesday.
So we'll see. I guess since Sammy is the champs, it'll be Scorpio versus Sammy on Wednesday. Let's see what else. Keith Lee. Oh. Yes, Jade. We will get to Jade stuff in just a second because I'm very excited for her match. Keith Lee versus JD Drake. I mean, it was a good, amazing match. Seeing Keith Lee in action for the first time in AEW. Super exciting stuff.
First time on Rampage, I think.
No, he just made his debut. He didn't actually. Oh, wait. Yes, he fought Isaiah
Cassidy. Yeah.
He fought Isaiah. First time on Rampage. My apologies, guys. It's late. Next, we had a promo segment where Death Triangle and Alex Abrahantes. Alex Abrahantes, right? Okay. Call out the House of Black for stuff. I mean, they've obviously been assholes lately. Blinding Pac, misting Penta to turn him into Penta Oscuro. And so they call them out for a match at Revolution because we obviously had not enough on the docket, needed to add one more.
Of course. Gotta get
And
a nice even
so
number.
on the buy-in, it will be the House of Black versus Death Triangle, but instead of Rey Fenix, who is obviously still injured, we had the debut of Eric Redbeard coming in to save the day. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be wild. I'm going to be the loudest person there once you came out. Yeah, look, you should be. Please be the loudest person for the both of us because, I mean, I want her to be 50-0. I would live for Jade to be TBS champ for a good long minute.
Just squashing people.
Next, we had Serena Deeb's 5-minute challenge. Had a smarter competitor this time around, who instead of trying to beat Serena Deeb was just trying to outlast the clock. Came to the outside to try to buy some time. Unfortunately, that just pissed Serena off. And at the end of the day, she walks away still undefeated in these rookie challenges. However, we had the return of Hikaru Shida. And I even had it written on her face that she was back in AEW to kick some ass, according to her. So, yeah, obviously this blood feud is nowhere near being done. So, maybe another match between them going into Double or Nothing, or maybe the road to Double or Nothing.
I would imagine so. It'll probably kickstart something. I don't know what exactly, but I feel like it's going to kickstart something.
Yes.
I'm very excited because I do love Hikaru, and they've had some very, very good matches. Like, they're already becoming a feud, or already have become a feud that will, go down in AEW history.
Yeah, I agree. Gonna be very interesting. And I wasn't expecting to see her. They said she was back in Japan, obviously with an injury. So hadn't expected to see her for quite some time. So very nice to see her back on our AEW television. The main event for Rampage was a final qualifier match for the Face of the Revolution ladder match between Ethan Page and Christian Cage. Great match, and of course it did solidify who the final official 6 will be for the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Great match between them. I mean, it kind of felt old-fashioned to me, but Christian's an old-fashioned kind of wrestler. So in the end, Christian did pick up the win and is the final entrant into the ladder match. And he made a good point. He's part of that legion of people who made the ladder match famous.
Without a doubt.
Do you think him versus Ethan Page? Do you think this was the right call?
As far as the winner?
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense given, the idea of their little faction. Hell, having gold and everything. And then, Christian is one of those pioneers of the ladder match. He was there, right there next with the Hardy Boys, paving the way for what would become, a staple in wrestling at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But excited to see him in another one. And I feel like Christian would be a good and necessary element that this group was kind of missing. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, as a veteran, he can help choreograph it and obviously play to everybody's strong suits. So
that ring general position.
Yeah, I think that having him added, it certainly preserves Ethan Page for, something later on down the line. And obviously with Scorpio Sky getting his opportunity for the TNT championship, to me, it doesn't make sense to have 2 people from the same faction getting opportunities so close to each other. So let the focus be on Scorpio Sky for a little while, as he kind of builds up to next week's match. With that covers everything for the most part that happened on Rampage. As you heard, a couple of different things that have Not affected the overall trajectory of the pay-per-view, but sprinkling in a couple more interesting details.
One thing we didn't mention was the fact that Mr. Eric Redbeard made his presence known with Penta and them.
Yeah, we did.
Did you?
Yeah. I'm screaming. Look,
I feel like
guys,
that might have something to do with something, though.
what?
Like, besides the fact that they're having a match, like, there has to be more with that.
I mean, Rampage is only an hour-long show, so I mean, I'm sure that they couldn't get into all the specifics. I think all that is important for right now is that he's made his debut, and we're set to see him on the buy-in for Revolution on Sunday. I'm sure on Wednesday we'll probably get some sort of promo segment or something to get a better explanation for what we can expect of Mr. Redbeard as he comes to AEW. Like, I don't even know, we haven't even had time to look and see if it's a graphic. Like, I don't know if he's all elite or if he's just here for, you know, as a favor, as like a crossover situation. So we'll have to wait and see. But yes, with that,
I'll look into it.
Okay. With that, like I said, that covers everything on Rampage. So we're going to not quickly, but we're going to take each match one by one. We're going to start with the 3 matches now that are listed for the buy-in. First of all, we'll start with Hook versus QT Marshall. Oh, yeah, people, buckle up because we got a lot of things to go over. Matches. They announced another particular segment that we know we're going to see on the pay-per-view. So we'll get to everything in due course. But Joker, starting with Hook versus QT Marshall, this match seems pretty straightforward. I mean, Hook has just been laying people out left and right, QT included. So I think it sounds pretty cut and dry to me, but seeing Hook in action is always a treat.
Oh, always a treat. Doesn't have to be very long. It's probably not going to be very long. Maybe like it's probably going to be Hook's longest match. But having said that, the kid's a natural. I can't wait to see what he does at his first pay-per-view. I'm very proud of him. Like he's been nothing but stellar since he's debuted, and yeah, can't wait to see Mr. Hook in action.
Oh, for sure. All right. Next up, we've got
Hook to win.
Oh yeah, of course, Hook to win. Cut and dry, people. Very easy to read this one.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Statwinder versus Layla Hirsch is next. Like we said on Dynamite or the Dynamite review, when they had that promo segment, this one's kind of interesting. Not really sure how to call this one. Chris Statlander is supposedly the good guy in this particular situation. However, she's not really acting like a good guy. I kind of feel like Layla is a bit justified in her anger toward Chris as far as, you know, what she said. I know there was some animosity between them before that, but she didn't have any right to tell her that she would deserve to be put up for adoption. Like, what the hell is that?
That's messed up, man.
For me, Chris is already established. She's rolling with the best friends. Like, she has her gimmick. I think Layla could stand to win this one and maybe push her in the direction of like a Team Taz or maybe even the Danielson dojo. Joker, your thoughts?
Yeah. Ugh. See, I was so sold on the Team Taz thing, and I have been for quite some time. And then, yeah, Danielson dojo. We didn't even talk about that.
Because she's super technical.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it's crazy because she could be a great fit in either one because she can do the power game, but she can also do the technical side. And so I feel like she could really fit in either or. The looming possibility of the double turn is always interesting. You know, as you said, Chris has been acting a little bit, you know, more on edge lately and saying some less than, you know, face things. So, you know, possible double turn here. I'm not sure. I can't call it. It's real hard, but I agree. I feel like Layla would stand to benefit the most from a win here.
All right. Well, we'll put the tick in the Layla column and see what we get on Sunday's pay-per-view. Last but not least, on the buy-in for Sunday, we have the newly announced House of Black versus Death Triangle, which will consist of Penta Oscuro, who definitely broke a man's arm this evening, Pac, and Eric Redbeard, who, of course, in case you missed it, made his debut this evening on Rampage. What do you make of this? I mean, we knew that with the House of Black not being involved in the tag team battle royal, like, contendership situation, they were set to be set apart for a run of their own of some sort. And this kind of seems like the direction that they're going in.
Yeah. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited for the match. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see the two big boys go at it. Especially Brody King, because Brody King actually had his background, like when he trained, there was a lot of lucha influence. Mm-hmm. So he's not afraid to fly, and since he's got another large man with him, Mr. Redbeard, I feel like it'll be a good opportunity for him to soar. I think it's going to be a great match. I want Ray to get back so soon.
I know. I
feel like they're supposed to wrestle soon, and I mean, maybe we'll see him.
Maybe.
But excited to say the least.
Any particular call on a winner?
Honestly, House of Black. We saw Penta and them win the last one, and unfortunately, Mr. Redbeard only being loosely associated would be a good pick for the pin. Honestly, for me. Mm-hmm. And then, maybe a group beat down to Ray Phoenix coming back out and clearing the house with his speed and agility.
Yeah, for sure. I also have House of Black to win if they're really going to push this particular tag team, or maybe not even tag team. It kind of seems like they're setting them up to kind of be the most formidable of the trios, as we kind of head into these rumors of a potential trios title situation later on in the year. Hey, Elvis, thanks for joining us.
What's going on?
But yes, I call for the House of Black to win as well. And if we're being honest, like you said, the Death Triangle just picked up the Dynamite win recently. But if we're being honest, you're going to remember the big match, so if they pick up the win at the pay-per-view, I think that kind of edges out a win on TV. So we'll have to see, but the Gaggle of Goths has it in my book. I'm going to fit it in every episode. Every single one.
Just trying to get the pop out of me, man.
Hey, man. It almost worked. All right, everybody. We are going to get into the meat and potatoes of this particular pay-per-view in just a moment, so stick with us. This is the Unpopular Review Revolution Predictions. Don't adjust that dial. We'll be right back after these messages.
Me and you were talking, we were watching together, and I thought this was a really good match. I think MSK is really good. I remember as we were talking, you was like, I think MSK, you said MSK looked like they have a future on the main roster. And I disagreed. And I disagreed because I just don't feel like they care for tag team wrestling. I think MSK, I almost said MST. Oh, my God. MSK, I think they're great. You mentioned stuff like them. They're marketable, young, good-looking guys, colorful at that.
But when it comes to these cups that are meant to push forward, tag team to give them that light, I feel like it should always be a different person, because you should always be pushing someone different. You should always be working to give someone else the light. You need as many as possible. But also the thing for MSK, I understand that you feel like they don't care about tag teams, but lately they have definitely been trying to revitalize the division on both brands on the main roster. And
welcome back, everybody. You can catch Bad Guy Jack, our current reigning UPR champ, and Captain Shay on Tuesdays after NXT for their review. Like, share, subscribe on any of the socials above or below us. Welcome back. We're going to get into the meat of it here. There's a lot more matches to cover. We just ran through the matches for the buy-in, in case you missed it. And speaking of the actual pay-per-view, got Thunder Rosa defeating Britt Baker for the Women's Championship. We have not covered that one just yet, but we will get there in just a moment. Speaking of women's wrestling, we've got Jade Cargill versus Ty Conte for the TBS Championship. Jade going in at 28-0, if I'm remembering correctly.
I believe that is correct.
And a sweet forehead kiss on the head. Look, I wish it was me. I wish I was getting the forehead kiss. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
I know, babe.
It is what it is. I'll just have to be rooting from the sidelines. Hands down, Jade's gonna win this one. Ty just answered a challenge for this particular championship. No real feud simmering here. I think whenever Jade does transition away as champion, it's got to be to somebody that's got a little more meat to it, like a little more juice to the storyline.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I want to see Jade hit 50-0. Honestly, like I kind of want her to hit that milestone, and then maybe a few down the line she can lose it, or I don't know. But yeah, man, I'd obviously pick Jade to win.
And I don't even mind that she's a little less experienced. I think that they, to the best of their ability, have done a great job of portraying her as a unstoppable force while still protecting the fact that she can't do these super dramatic storytelling matches quite yet in her career.
But I mean, we've said it before in the stream, let her be a Goldberg figure. Goldberg in like the early days of WCW, like Goldberg didn't do long matches. He came out, he murdered somebody, and then he left. Like
and she has the aura for it.
She's got the aura, she's got the look, and then like her work, while she isn't the most polished and she doesn't, she's not like, she's still green. But she is green like money. I was about to say she is green like money because the stuff that girl has done, and like you got to think about the fact that 28-0 is all of her like, professional matches. Like,
yeah, that's her entire career.
Right. Like that's impressive. Like if you really take a step back and keep that in the back of your brain, like that is an amazing thing. And I mean, I highly appreciate what she's done so far and some of the moves that she's been able to pull off. And she's consistently, improving. So yeah, I'm excited to see how long this reign lasts. And
Elvis with a very interesting question here, though.
The question is always there because, yes, Athena, I want her to show up so bad.
I think the pay-per-view might be a great time. I mean, we haven't really discussed any rumors on the rumor mill, but I know that there are quite a few free agents that are out there right now that could feasibly make a debut on the pay-per-view and continue to shake things up. I feel like every time we turn around, there is a fresh face on the roster. And I think with the purchase of Ring of Honor, hopefully the roster will kind of balance itself out across both brands. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes.
Or Athena versus Dr. Britt. Yeah, I mean, she could come in and go straight for the top. I mean, she's super talented. She obviously is already ready to go as far as like a TV ready superstar who can come in, has the charisma, has the whole package, and doesn't need to be built from the ground up. So
and a badass finisher.
Oh yeah, the Eclipse is amazing. I think it's super cool. All right, we'll keep the train rolling here. We've got a tornado trios match. No, I'm so sorry. Wait. Yes, that's how it was billed. That's how it was like written out on the graphic. It was a tornado trios match. The AHFOs Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy G. Obviously, with the one thing we didn't touch on from Rampage with Sammy getting the win, he tried to extend the hand to Darby, trying to, I mean, they've got to be friends going into this match on Sunday. And Darby just rolled out of the ring. He wanted nothing to do with Sammy and his handshake. So obviously trouble in paradise going into this match.
Watch this match. I'm sorry. It was so good.
And given how good that, because we
10
talked about this
stars.
earlier, I kind of thought that this would have been done in reverse. Like, we would have gotten the trios match on Rampage and gotten the triple threat for the title at the pay-per-view. So to me, if this match was already such a banger tonight, and that's what they didn't put on the pay-per-view, what the hell are they going to do on Sunday?
I don't know, because that triple threat should have been on the pay-per-view. But if they can outdo themselves in this match, which is a tall order, because again, I meant that 10 stars. Okay, like that match was high octane. It was absolutely brutal. They were stiff with each other, and it was just so well put together. The timing was just on point, and some incredible spots. And that finish with Darby hitting the coffin drop, only for Sammy to come out of just from the heavens to splash on top of it. Phenomenal. So I can only imagine what kind of chaos and insanity is going to come down, is going to happen at this pay-per-view.
And here's my question, because how do you pick a winner? I've heard, again, discussing the rumor mill a little bit, that this should be where the AHFO kind of dissolves, because they are anticipating Jeff's, incoming time for AEW to be pretty soon. And so you would think that Matt would want to break off and go and do stuff with his brother. But obviously there's some trouble in paradise between Darby and Sammy. Do you think they can make up before Sunday and bring home the win?
I don't know. I mean, Darby rightfully upset with the match. I mean, he wanted to win, obviously. And he probably would have won had Sammy not, done a swanton on top of him. High emotions. I'm very interested to see how this match goes, because it's really gonna set a lot of things in motion.
Mm-hmm. I still am calling for the good guys to win. I think regardless of whether Sammy and Darby can get it together, Sammy is the champ, and I think comes away with a win from the pay-per-view. I do think this ends up being what dissolves the AHFO. Or at least Matt Hardy leaving. Andrade might decide to keep the whole, group of people that he's collected over, from working with Matt. But I think Matt removes himself from this situation.
What do they call themselves afterwards?
The AFO?
Oh, man.
I don't. Maybe they don't call themselves anything. I mean, Andrade has this whole Batman villain gimmick. Right, exactly. He's got this whole gimmick going on, so why not? I just want Sting and Darby to be tag champs. I think that the tag team division is pretty full right now. I do think that there could be room for it later on down the line. But I don't know if I would want to see that right this second.
Yes.
Gonna go a little out of order here. George here talking about Thunder Rosa cutting a sick promo on her YouTube channel, talking about her match against Dr. Baker. Let's just talk about this match really quick. After Dino, obviously it is Thunder Rosa versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, for the AEW Women's title. And after what we saw on Wednesday with Thunder Rosa picking up the clean victory over,
So squeaky clean.
right, like pinned her in the middle of the ring, like, where do we go from here?
I don't know. Because I was 100% certain that Thunder Rosa was going to defeat Dr. Britt Baker, but I don't know. Like, everything in me is like, okay, now she's not going to win, but why would she not win? Like, I can't wrap my brain around how they could make this work unless they're trying to draw it out to Double or Nothing. But I can't think of a way that they can work this out to where it would make sense and not piss off the fans if they are truly just trying to, extend it out to Double or Nothing. I hope that's not the case.
Either someone is coming in that has jumped to the front of the line, and that's why they've maybe moved away from it, or maybe they are just trying to establish how strong Rosa truly is. She did pick up the win against Britt during the lights out match, and Britt has basically made it to where it didn't count because it didn't count against her record. But I know we touched on this on Wednesday that I wish that if she was going to be the victor in this situation, that the pay-per-view be her first official win against Britt.
Yeah, I feel like it would have made it way more special. But I guess only time will tell. It is a very it's still so odd. I'm trying to understand, and like you said, either somebody's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you can. Yeah, I can't see how this cannot be Rosa's time. Like, it's just time.
I know, like, honestly, even given everything that we've seen, I still have Rosa as the victor in this situation. I'm putting my hat in the ring on this. I think that she will become the champ and, just look that much stronger for having beaten Britt pretty much back to back.
Yeah. And Jamie Hayter could do something.
Or Mercedes. Like, I know that it looks like George agrees with us. I know that the story that they were trying to tell essentially is that without Hayter and Rebel, not Reba not Rebel, whatever you want to call her, in the mix, Britt is essentially defenseless. That's part of the story that I walked away with on Wednesday. So if she can, use Mercedes or, have her in the wings to isolate these two, she might have a chance at a back-to-back victory against the Doctor.
Wouldn't that be something?
It certainly would. All right. Continuing on down the line, we've got Jungle Boy and Lucha Soros versus Red Dragon versus the Young Bucks for the tag titles. We did kind of touch on this at the very, very end of Rampage after Christian Cage won the qualifier for the ladder match. Jungle Boy's music hit. The tag champs come down to celebrate with Christian. They hug it out in the ring. And then Red Dragon and the Young Bucks saunter down the ramp in their jumpsuits. And essentially we have it was a little back and forth. Just a small taste, as 2.0 like to put it, of what we can expect on Sunday. Crazy flips and tricks, I'm sure. But at the end, Red Dragon and Young Bucks both had one of the titles. So obviously hinting very heavily that, one, this is probably the end of the line for Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and two, who do you see taking it off of them?
Red Dragon.
No hesitation.
Nope. I feel like Red Dragon, which is going to eventually lead, to the split up of the Elite, which is eventually going to lead to, more. Potentially, who knows? Maybe we'll get, the Elite, not the Elite, Undisputed versus the Bucks, a newly faced Bucks. with the Hardy Boys. Just saying. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or, then again, you could have still heel Young Bucks versus the Hardy Boys too. Anyway, regardless, I still feel like Red Dragon is the way to go here, personally.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Obviously, the Young Bucks have already been tag team champs, and I think that this division could benefit from continuing to put the belts on new people. For like, I don't need to see a whole lot of 2-time champions running around just yet.
And they can be quite the tyrants, because I mean, Red Dragon's nothing to snuff at.
Right.
Like, their combos and just each one of them's technical ability in the ring is just outstanding. So,
and even if Red Dragon win, this doesn't necessarily mean the immediate dissolving of the Elite. Like, this could just be the catalyst, the big crack that starts the earthquake.
Exactly.
So my calls for Red Dragon too. So next, another head scratcher here. Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. First of all, this match is going to be sick, regardless of who wins. Regardless of who wins, amazing match. My question is, Danielson is the one who initiated this request of them teaming up together and building a legacy together and XYZ. In my eyes, he should be the one to walk away with the win here, to usher in the era of whatever comes next for them. I guess my question is, Moxley's promo on Wednesday kind of confused me, because the story that he was trying to tell was very different from the one that we had been hearing over the past couple of weeks, as far as like, he seemed to almost be leaning into the idea of them joining forces. It's just that he didn't want to do it until they had fought each other. And then on Wednesday, to me, it almost was like the story was changed a little bit. Like, he wasn't singing the same tune. So I'm very confused at this point. I don't know what any of this means.
Yeah, he seems almost a lot more like ready to do this rather than, but I mean, he was always kind of playing around with the idea that he was going to do it regardless. Because even when he made his first acknowledgement of the request, when he finally came out and talked to him, excuse me, he said, I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no. And when he said that, he smiled. Mm-hmm. To me, that meant, I like what you got, going in your head. However,
right,
you got to throw hands first. And once he agreed, Mox really hasn't done anything outside of, normal Mox behavior when he's about to fight somebody, but he has mutual respect for the man.
Right.
As another purveyor of violence.
I guess where the confusion comes in is that the promo he cut on Wednesday, he was talking about, like, there's 2 paths before me, and I essentially am, this is a new chapter for him, and he's going to write this chapter in blood and XYZ. And so to me, like, it almost kind of comes off as a story of Moxley trying to continue to get back to the old Moxley. Like, obviously he is still, I don't want to say recovering. He's proven that he's here to stay, but he did take a short absence from the ring. And I think they've really kind of played into that with his character. So my question is like, is this truly about the dojo, or is this about Moxley trying to overcome something within himself? Like, the story,
Death Rider.
Yeah, like, the story just became a little muddled for me personally. I thought I knew where we were going with this match, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a banger regardless. It's just going to be curious how we come out of it.
And, there's no telling if, Claudio had anything to do with the changing of the vibe of what was going on,
Right.
you know, and who knows? Only time will tell. I personally, because I can't really call this match, I'm going to call it with my heart personally. And I want Mox to win. You know, he gave that speech, you know, originally explaining how he's never beaten Danielson. And yeah, I just want to see it. Plus, I want to see him beat him to a pulp, and then, you know, just kind of like from the ground, like shake his hand, like, all right, let's do this, and then just leave in standard Mox faction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I could definitely see it.
But Claudio,
right. It could be that maybe Claudio is going to fulfill that role of like Danielson's second, because that's the thing. Moxley doesn't come off to me as a sidekick kind of character, you know, and in this particular situation, Danielson would be the one kind of calling the shots in this dojo, you know, faction type archetype. So it would be interesting if you brought in somebody like a Claudio who is just as technically skilled as a Danielson, but just doesn't have, like, because Claudio is a star on his own, but Danielson just has this charisma about him.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
To where he could be the one doing all the talking, and Cesaro could be, you know, backing it up with his fists.
Facts. And I mean, there's so many ways we can go about this, because Claudio can, you know, show up in another segment that we can talk about, I'm sure, soon. But yeah, I could still definitely see him as the, you know, other teacher in this situation, because I mean, the man can stretch out anybody, literally anybody. I want to see a match with him versus Stu Grayson personally, but that's for another day. I don't know. There's so much about this pay-per-view that I just can't predict, because there's so many variables that are possible and not outside the realm of what AEW could pull off. So it makes it very, very, very difficult. But like I said, I want Mox to win. So
for sure. Well, we're a house divided on that one, so we'll have to see which one of us is right when we get to the aftermath of Revolution next week on Wednesday. Catch us after the show. One last match we'll talk about real quick before we take a quick break is going to be Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho. Obviously, from Dynamite, we had some questionable interaction between Jericho and Proud and Powerful. Not sure what that means. Kingston had a promo segment on Rampage with Tony Schiavone. He did mention, you know, why Eddie's a very interesting guy, because he truly is committed to, I don't want to say his character, because his character is just him, but he is committed to kayfabe. And while it was very interesting to see him almost break character a little bit to kind of like, you know, talk fourth wall for a second, like, you know, hey, because his exact words were, hey, I know kayfabe is dead, but we don't have to piss on its grave. You know, talking about Jericho constantly using the insider terms during his promo segments. But at the end of it, he pretty much invited Tony Schiavone for some Reese's pie and catering. I mean, Eddie seems like a great guy.
All hail the Mad King. I can't wait for Eddie to beat up Chris. Once again, Claudio could show up, you know. Then we could get Claudio and Eddie going back at it after all these years. Old Hikaru beef.
Yeah, that's true, because
so
they
much
have like
up in the air.
Legit real life beef. Like when Cesaro's when the announcement came out that he had separated from WWE, I mean, Eddie was one of the first people to be making a comment about, you know, basically he doesn't have the balls to show up at
I bet he won't.
so we'll have to see. I mean, he could show up in any one of these segments and it would be absolutely earth-shattering. All right, everybody, don't adjust those dials. This is the Unpopular Review Revolution prediction, and we will be right back after these messages.
Woo! I like the hat. Are you going out tonight? Like,
No. No, I'm putting this on because of our first inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. I call this my Undertaker hat.
Okay, look, I got something for you. You talking about this guy right there? You talking about that hat right there? You talking about that hat right there? I see you. But yes, and that was probably the biggest news in WWE today, right? Was the Undertaker would be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class
on the anniversary of his streak continuing 20-0.
Is that what it is? Okay, see, wait, look at you knowing shit I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? But I thought a lot of people figured it had to be in Texas if he was going to go in, right? That's his hometown. I guess it's only right to say that it should be Kane that inducts him. But if not Kane, I wonder who would be the person that would induct him into this Hall of Fame.
Surprise, it's Vince McMahon.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Revolution prediction video. Yes, in case you hadn't heard, on the Pat McAfee podcast earlier today, Vince McMahon did confirm that he himself would be the one to induct Undertaker into the Hall of Fame for this year's induction ceremony. So
it's good shit.
Mike Knox and Wrestling Doll, two more amazing hosts here on UPR. You can catch them. Like, share, subscribe, above and below, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We will continue on with the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Let me kind of go over the entrance here. After Rampage, we officially have on the docket Wardlow, Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, Keith Lee, Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy, and now Christian Cage. Couple of questions here. Ironically enough, Joker. I think there was mention of a Joker for this match, but they haven't really discussed it during any of the live segment. Do you think we have a Joker in this match? And if so, who could it be?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I've heard rumors of a Joker, of a seventh man. Who could that be? Claudio for a third time tonight.
I'm screaming. You just really want to see him.
I do, but I'm just saying. I'm legitimately saying he could show up in any of these three segments, and still fit. But also, Mr. Swerve Strickland is another one that could possibly pop up. So, and he would be absolutely outstanding in a ladder match. We've seen him in, amazing match. We just saw him in Terminus. So yeah, I hope that there's one, to be honest, just to spice it up a little bit. Not to say that there's already isn't going to be absolutely crazy because of all of these people.
Yeah, for sure. Final question on this particular segment. Who do you have to win?
If there's no Joker, for me, honestly, I say Wardlow. I feel like it further feeds into the CM Punk MJF angle. I mean, well, the MJF angle in general. And could definitely serve as a move. Well, it could also be a motor if he lost or didn't win. It could also be a motor for, his face change or face turn that is currently in motion. Because MJF could just be like, well, see, I told you we're going to win. No. So either way, but I still stick with Wardlow.
Yeah, I agree. Going through all these names, Keith Lee also kind of stands out, but at the same time, even if he did win, it seems like they're setting him up for a feud with Team Taz. Mm-hmm. So, it would be doing him a disservice to have him split between the, TNT match versus, Team Taz. I too call for Wardlow to win on this one. I think it does play into what he's got going on with MJF. And all the more, proves just how awesome he is. All of this, of course, pending the Joker, but even still, even if it was like Claudio or Mr. Swerve Strickland, bringing them in and having them win immediately, like, yeah, they'd have an instant title opportunity, but it's not really doing much with it outside of that. I think they could come make a name for themselves in the match itself and then go off and do something else within the company.
Exactly, because you don't really lose the ladder match.
Right. It's too many elements going on. Okay, we already discussed Dr. Britt Baker's match with Thunder Rosa, so moving on down the list here in front of me, I've got CM Punk versus MJF in this dog collar match. We did hear from CM Punk an exclusive interview just after they had pretty much gotten the blood to stop gushing from his head on Wednesday.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joker, take this one away. I know you've been very excited about the gleam you saw in CM Punk's eyes.
Oh, man, I haven't seen that look in his eye in a very, 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 very long time. And I'm very excited for PG-13. I'm just kidding.
I'm screaming.
I can't help myself. But no, seriously, I'm very excited for this match. I was already excited for this match. MJF already has just marionetting this whole engagement. And once again, just going to circle back to it again. CM Punk and MJF have both complemented and elevated each other's careers in AEW tremendously, because while CM Punk has definitely done more for MJF in these past couple of months than Jericho did with their whole saga, Punk is back to form and is getting back to that rebel and outlaw and just dickhead that we all came to know and love. And so I'm very excited to see it. I hope it sticks around.
Yeah, for me, it kind of is. It's giving me the vibes of the anti-hero having to face down the villain he created.
Exactly.
Max is very much the villain in this particular situation, given the performances we've seen out of him for the past couple of episodes of Dynamite. And Punk's done playing games. I think he, true to his word, will beat the absolute shit out of Max. Who do you have to win this one, though? Because even if it's an absolute bloodbath and they beat the absolute shit out of each other, who comes away with the win? Punk's already lost once to MJF. So do you true it up and have them do a rubber match, or do we nip the feud here and have him take a second loss?
Honestly, I think that Max is going to go over here only because they can play off it's a cheeky way of doing 3 losses, because technically he won twice at their first engagement. So I've thought that this was the trajectory we were going in, especially after the 2 losses. So technically it's been a 3-match, feud, but you got a cheeky 2 out of 1. Right,
instead of doing a true 2 out of 3 falls match.
Yeah, or a series of 3.
Right.
So yeah, Punk can take this loss and still come out of it on the other side. All right, well, obviously I'm not, I haven't tapped into my violence enough. And we could see him go on an absolute tear, just murdering everybody he gets in the ring with just pure unbridled rage and ruthless aggression. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And I feel like Max needs to win this. But I could be wrong and Punk could win. It's just that up in the air.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I think Max needs to go over here.
I'm in agreement. I think that they really set him up to look like an absolute monster coming out of this segment on Wednesday with the t-shirt and the blood and everything. So
good.
You know, I think that this kind of ushers in a new era for Max and the Pinnacle by proxy. You know, they looked like a well-oiled machine, and we haven't seen them look like that ever. Like, you know, in the time that they were feuding with Chris, they just kind of seemed like a not a lovable, but, you know, like a goofy bunch of like frat boys versus like a true syndicate of fighters that we need to be afraid of.
Agreed. They definitely looked a lot stronger when they were fending off the, you know, security team and working like a well-oiled unit.
Right.
For the goal of, you know, beating the stuffing out of CM Punk.
Right. Instead of fumbling, you know, over each other and having these awkward backstage promo segments and Chris is hiding in the bathroom and like none of that goofiness. Like we truly got a glimpse of the terror that the Pinnacle could have been raining on the locker room this whole time.
Agreed.
All right. Well, both of us are calling for MJF, so we'll have to see how it all shakes out. But again, it's going to be so hard to call what you would, if on paper, like, oh, this would be match of the night, or this could be like. There are so many bangers and even sleepers that we got to watch out for. Before we get to what will more than likely be the main event, I mean, it's the AEW World Championship. How could it not be? Touching on a quick confirmed segment for sometime during the Revolution pay-per-view. We've got Dan Lambert saying that, you know, the trade-off for him getting Scorpio Sky, his opportunity so quickly was the bargaining chip of confirming Paige Van Zandt will sign her AEW contract at the pay-per-view. Paige obviously coming in and squaring off against Brandy originally. What do you think about this addition for the women's roster?
I want to know who she's supposed to fight.
Marina Shafir.
I'd be okay with this, to be completely honest, because I've been enjoying her on Dark and her silent suffering. Like, it's kind of like what the vibe I get. I don't know. But yeah, I'd be okay with that. But I don't. It's Paige Van Zandt. Maybe. Especially if we have the double turn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess that could work. Or possibly Brandy comes back. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
They still haven't shown up there. We haven't heard anything about them. The matter of fact, what we've heard lately is that the negotiations with WWE have stalled out. So, you know, who knows?
Yeah, for sure. She could definitely double back to AEW and finish where she started against Paige and, you know, take it from there. I don't know. I feel like the people are not on the Brandy train, and you would almost babyface Paige by putting her against Brandy because people just do not like her that much.
Maybe that's the idea. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows? But confirm that she will sign her AEW contract at the pay-per-view. Real quick here, Elvis saying match of the night might be House of Black match. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think every single one of the people, that's what I love about this promotion. Every wrestler who is slated to be on this pay-per-view list here is gonna go out to try to claim that match of the night title. Darby, right? Darby, Sammy, everybody in the ladder match, CM Punk and MJF. Even all the way down to Hook and QT Marshall. I mean, I know Hook, I'm sure, has got to be loving the fact that he's the talk of the town right now. So
coming out to Action Bronson.
Match of the night is going to be a hard one to call, but we will have to wait and see. Wrapping things up here, we've got the AEW World Championship on the line for Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole Bebe, the Battle of the Atoms.
Baby.
You and I have called from the beginning for Hangman's reign to come to an end, not at Revolution, but at Double or Nothing. You still stand with that ideal, which would mean that Adam Cole Bebe would take his first official singles loss in AEW.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly think that Adam Page will retain here. And look, Elvis agrees with me.
Yeah, I mean, he picked Adam to win.
Right, I'm saying, right? I feel like it's not time to take the belt off of Adam. He's been having a phenomenal run, in my opinion. He's had nothing but bangers with everybody he's been in matches with, and this is going to be no different. I mean, that little glimpse we got to see during their tag match on Dynamite was like just a tease, a taste, just a taste. And like that taste got me so hungry for this match. Like this could be match of the night. Man, can giddy up, man.
People need to put some respect on my man Hangman's name.
They won't. But you know what? It's okay because he's still fire.
And look, I'm not going to sit here and say, because everybody wants to make the comparison. Oh, he's not a Kenny, or oh, he's not a John Moxley, or oh, he's not a Chris Jericho. And you know what? You're absolutely correct. He is not any one of those. But if you think about it, each one of those champions was completely different from, because you really flip-flopped between the two extremes, because you start with Jericho, who is nothing at the time, an awful human being. It seems like he's kind of coming full circle back to the original Chris Jericho. But yeah, when he was the champion, he was an asshole. And then you swung completely the other way with the People's Champion in John Moxley. And then you swung right back the other way with, Kenny Omega and his heel championship run.
Hollywood Omega.
So it makes sense that you would swing back to somebody that the fans can relate to. And Hangman Page is an everyday wrestling fans kind of guy. He straps up his boots just like everybody else. He's a anxious millennial cowboy like some of us deep inside. That my whole thing is, no, he's not like some of the previous champions, but honestly, that's okay.
Because there's some kid that is head over heels for Adam Page, and him being the champion means everything to him. Or her. Who knows? But Adam has had nothing but amazing matches, and so has Mr. Cole. Like we know Adam Cole performs at his best under the brightest of lights.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said earlier, every single person on that roster, male or female, and everything in between, that is on that roster is going for match of the night. And every time that there's a fire match, the next match they're going to try even harder, because that's all wrestlers do, is they try and one up each other.
Right. And considering this is going to be the main event after some of these other crazy matches, it has to be the peak. It has to be
right.
The culmination.
Crescendo.
You're right. The crescendo. Excellent word. For this particular event. So I have the absolute utmost faith in the Atoms to pull off an absolute blockbuster of a main event for Revolution.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, everybody. Well,
possible match of the night.
How many can there be? How many?
All of them, really. Especially after the tag match, man. That That title match, man. I can't get over the title match. I'm sorry. The title match. It was just so. Look at this. I know I've said this like 47 times already, but look at it. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Just imagine with more guys. It's going to be crazy.
It is going to be crazy. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for this midnight edition of the Unpopular Review AEW team. This is our Revolution predictions segment. And follow up with us on Wednesday after the aftermath on Wednesday's Dynamite to find out how everything shook out on this particular pay-per-view. As always, I'm Divine Intervention. He's All Elite Joker, and we will catch you guys next time.
Peace, y'all. Enjoy the pay-per-view and enjoy all of your wrestling. It's so good. I'm just